This is Appendix B template drop transitions, exercise B.1, 4-lane with median to a 3-lane transition. In this exercise, we will create a transition from a 4-lane to a 2-lane typical section using a transition tool. Then we will use surface templates to model what the transition tool does not create. So let's start off. Let's open up the Road2 TDT corridor DGM file located within the Appendix B subfolder. Once your file loads, let's make sure we are in the multimodal view in the lower left corner with the 2D view on the left and the 3D view on the right. And now let's locate the second transition between stations 183.50 and 185.25. So it should automatically go to the ballpark of where this transition is. Then we can open that Create Transition tool. So under Open Rows Modeling, Corridors, Create, and Transitions. And then select the two template drops in the 2D view. Then the 2D and 3D models will both render a transition, but only the EOP and the paved shoulder. So now to edit the transition, let's open up that Edit Transition tool under Open Rows Modeling, Corridors, Create, and Transitions. And then we can select that transition handle. Then this window should appear. For this exercise, the transition will have the linear templates applied to the shoulders that include paved shoulders. Therefore, we can delete the PSH1L and the PSH2L lines. And then we can delete the same ones on the right side, PSH1R and PSH2R. Now we're going to draw in some transitions. So we're going to be working from left to right, bottom to top. And we're going to connect the respective L and B of the 4-lane transition to the EOP of the 2-lane template. And remember, you can move these transitions, these templates around a little bit. So we're going to be drawing a line from this LNB point, LNB5L bot, to the EOP 5L bot. And then we're just going to work our way up. I'm going to do the same thing on the right side. So over here, the LNB5R bottom to the EOP5R bot. Then we also need to connect the LNA and the CR flow line of the 4-lane template to the respective CL of the 2-lane template. So a lot of these lines here in the middle are going to be to the center line of the 2-lane. So both the LNA column here, as well as the CR flow lines. So all of these, this row, this row, and this row all need to go to the centerline row in the 2 lane. So the LNA 5L bot to the CL5 bot. And then working our way up. Then moving on over to the CR flow line 5LM to the CL5 bot. And then working our way up. Be sure to skip these two and go up to the CR flow line 4LM. Now that we have the left side, we can go ahead and start on the right side. So starting out with CR flow line 5RM, and we're going to that CL5 bot. And then once we have all the flow lines, we can go back to the LNA column here. So LNA 5R bot to the CL5 bot. And then working our way up. So now we have all the LNA points, and I already did the LNB points. So all we did here was move the LNB points to the EOP points on both the left and right side. And we also did the LNA points on both sides to the center line, and we also did the flow lines points on both sides to the center line. And then once you have everything looking like this, we can go ahead and click OK to move to the next window. And then if you get this reminder, go ahead and just press OK. So this is that transition window. So if we move the transition forward and back, nothing really changes because we still have to work with some of the constraints that we have on this template. So here we need to right click on all of the top points and delete both constraints. And then as we're doing that, the model will convert to a 4-lane with a median down to a 2-lane as you slide the transition slider from start to end. So we're just going to work our way across the top here, delete both constraints. So I deleted all the constraints. So now we can do the start here all the way down to a 2-lane road. So from the 4-lane with a median, transition all the way down to a 2-lane road. So now we can just go ahead and click OK, and the template should now transition from 4-lane down to 2 lanes in the 2D and 3D models. Now there's still some holes here and there, so we just got to go back and continue playing with this model to get it to looking exactly the way we want. So next we need to open the Apply Linear Templates tool. It's going to be under Open Roads Modeling, Model Detailing, and 3D Tools. And then we can select the EOPR line. And then we can change up the template we want to use here. So I'm going to go ahead and click the three little dots here, and we want to select the EOP-61 template. It is under Linear Templates, then Civil Cells, and then Shoulder. So EOP-61. Click OK. Then we have the EOPR line selected, so let's go ahead and set the start and stop station. So the start station we want is to be 83 plus 49.39. And then we want the end station to be 85 plus 25.65. And then we can start left clicking through some prompts here. So we want to make sure that's the correct start station. That's the correct end station. So left click again. And once you get this orange little block here, we want to place it on the outside of the EOPR. So like this. And then left click once more. A couple more times. And it should place that shoulder and slope to our model. Now let's open the Add Clipping Reference tool. This tool is going to be under Open Roads Modeling, Corridors, Miscellaneous, Corridor Clipping. And then let's clip the mainline corridor with the linear templates as the clipping reference to smooth out the transition of the fill and the shoulder. So there, the corridor to be clipped was the main line, and then the clipping reference is just the one we just added in. Then right click, left click, take a second to process, and you should be good. So now whenever we look at the slopes, it should all transition pretty well there. Next, we need to create a parametric constraint. So let's go and open up that tool. It's going to be under Open Roads Modeling, Corridor, Edits, and then Create Parametric Constraint. And then let's select the linear template. Let's have that start station be 8349.39. Let's have that stop station be 8525.65. Let's have that constraint label be GSHL width. And we want to have that start value be -10. And we'll leave that stop value be -6. And then we can left click through these prompts. But let's make sure we have the stations correct: 8349.39. 85, 25, 65, so we're good there. And then we can just continue to click through the prompts here. Give it a second to process. And now the shoulder should line up with the 4-lane template. Now we're going to repeat those last few steps, but for the left side of the roadway. And we're going to change up the start and stop stations to have the start be 83:53:23 and the stop be 85:29:49. The first step we need to do to the left side is to apply that linear template. So once again, go up to Open Roads Modeling, Model Detailing, 3D Tools, apply linear templates. This time we're going to select that EOPL point. And we can leave that template be the same, but let's change up those start and end stations. The start be 83:53.23. Then the end station be 85:29.49. And then we can left click through some prompts here. And we want this orange block to be on the outside. Continue your left clicks, and it should add in the slope. Next, we can do the clipping reference. So let's go ahead and open up that tool. So under corridors, miscellaneous, clipping, add clipping reference. And we're just going to select the main line and then select the one we just drew in for the clipping reference. And then right click to reset to complete. Then last thing we need to do here is to create the parametric constraint. So go ahead and go up to Open Roads Modeling, Corridor, Edits, create parametric constraint. We'll locate the corridor, which is just the main line. Start is 83.53.23. Stop is 85.29.49. And this time we want that GSHR width. We want to go from 10 to 6. And then left click through the prompts. So next, let's go to our feature definition toolbar. Let's change this to be the C&G flow line control feature definition. This is going to be under linear, roadway, model control, 2D plan, and then curb and gutter, and then C&G flow line control. Let's make sure we make it active. Turn on the create 3D automatically. And now let's open the variable offset taper tool on Open Roads Modeling, Geometry, Horizontal Offsets and Taper. And then with this tool active, we want to snap from the bottom flow line control on the left side of the template to the center line at the right side of the transition with a length of 175 feet. So we'll just select the center line. Snap to that point, and then we get snap to the center line down here. And then continue left click through the prompts. We don't want to mirror. So now we can go ahead and select the control lines that were just placed. I'm just going to control click each of these. And then within the properties under the profile by projecting 3D element simple slope rule header, let's change that slope to -2%. That should change them for both since we selected both of them. -2 and -2. Now let's open the line between points tool. It's going to be under Open Roads Modeling, Geometry, Horizontal, and Lines. Now let's connect those two tapers at the median, and then that should close the median transition shape. So just from this point to this point. Now open the Create Terrain Model from Elements tool. It's going to be under Open Roads Modeling, Terrain, and Create. And select those three lines that we just drew, and then right click and then click through the prompts. And let's name this terrain model Asphalt Transition 2. So I selected the three lines, right click. We want this feature to be break line, the edge method to be none, feature definition to be civil cell, and then the name to be asphalt transition. And then I can continue to left click through these prompts. So next, let's open the Apply Surface Template tool on our Open Roads Modeling, Model Detailing 3D Tool Surface Templates. And then in the 3D model, select the terrain boundary that was just created, and then select the Surface 4-layer template. Select the Surface 4-layer template. And then we can just left click through some of the prompts here. The median transition now has a surface. So now let's change up our feature definition again. Let's go and select the curb control feature definition. So this is going to be under Roadway Model Control 2D Plans, Curb and Gutter. Select Curb Control and leave it active, leave the 3D automatically turned on. So now let's open the Simple Arc tool. It's going to be under Open Roads Modeling, Geometry, Horizontal, Arc, Arc Between Elements, Simple Arc. And then let's select the bottom taper and then the top taper and then snap to the end of the bottom taper to place the arc. And let's set the Trim Extend option to None. And now let's go to Element Selection. Let's select that arc and look at its properties. So here under the Profile by 2 3D Element Transition Rule section, it's got the Quick Transition Method to Parabolic. Let's change that to Linear. Now let's open the profile of the arc. Once we have the profile open, we need to locate the profile elevation at approximately 604.7 feet, which is this purple line here. And now let's open the Profile Intersection Point tool under Open Roads Modeling, Geometry, Vertical, and Profile Creation. And then select the arc, and then the center line, and then reset. And so now we just have our pink dot. So let's go ahead and draw some vertical geometry from the start of the arc to the dot, and then back down to the end of the arc. And then let's complex that geometry and then set it as active. To do this, I'm going to use the Profile Line Between Points tool. We're going to start at the beginning of the purple line, draw up to the pink dot, and then back down to the purple line, make a little triangle here. Then we need to complex those two. Right click, hover off, and hover back over it, set as active profile. So the next tool we need to open is the Apply Linear Templates tool. It'll be under Open Roads Modeling, Model Detailing 3D Tools. And then we can select the arc. And then we can select the template. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that little template library. And we want the Median, Curb, and Gutter template. It is going to be under Linear Templates, Civil Cells, Curb and Gutter, and then Median, Curb and Gutter. Click OK. And then back into this Apply Linear Templates window, we can lock to start, lock to end. And then we can start left clicking through some prompts here. And then this orange block, we want it to be on the inside of the arc. Then continue your left clicks, and we should see the curb and gutter appear. So we see the lines in the 2D view, and we can scroll into the 3D, and we see our little arc there. So let's go ahead and open up that line between points tool. It's going to be under Open Node Modeling, Geometry, Horizontal, and Lines. Let's draw a line from the inside edge of the linear templates to the other side, snapping to the arc, which is the CR back top RM line. So I'm going to scroll into the top here. It doesn't have to be anything exact. Just make sure you're on this CR back top RM point. Left click there to start it, and we're going to draw it to the bottom side. Again, be sure that you are snapping to the CR back top RM line. Once we have that line drawn, we can open up the profile model of that line. If we did it correctly, it should look like this. If yours looks a little different or doesn't have the purple line, it might be because you didn't select the correct CR back top RM line. Now we're going to draw a couple profile lines onto this profile. I'm going to go up to Vertical Lines, Profile Line Between Points tool. And we're going to start at the beginning of the purple line, and just draw this line in at a 4% slope all the way to the end. And then we're going to repeat this for the other side, but using a negative 4% slope. So next we're going to trace over a couple of these lines. We're going to start and trace the positive 4% line starting at the left and then ending at the intersection of the two. And then tracing down the negative 4% to the end of the profile. Then we're going to complex those two lines together using the complex element tool. We're going to have it set to automatic, so it should pick up both lines automatically. Lastly, we need to set this new complex element as the active profile. And then we can close out of this profile window. Now we can create another terrain. Before we do that, let's turn off a couple levels. Let's turn off the Design Corridor Graphics Design and the Design Model Lines Curb Full Line to make it a little bit easier to see these two lines. So let's open up the Create Terrain Model from Elements tool. It should be under Open Node Modeling, Terrain, and Create. And then select the curb line with the new profile, and then select the CR back top RM line. Right click to accept those two lines, and then make sure the feature type is set to break line. The edge method is set to none, and that the feature definition is a civil cell. Now let's go ahead and name this terrain Median Nose 2. And then left click through the prompts to accept. Now within the Explorer, under Open Node Model, Terrain Models, and Civil Cells, you should see Median Nose 2. So go ahead and right click on that, and then under Templates, go ahead and select Apply Surface Templates. And then you can select the Surface-Concrete Miscellaneous template. It should be under Linear Templates, Civil Cells, and Surface. And then left click through the prompts to apply this surface template. Now if we scroll out, we should see a pretty good looking transition that is now modeled in ORD. And this concludes exercise B.1, 4-lane with median to a 3-lane transition.